Imagine this. You've built a life you're proud of, your own home, a steady relationship, and a clear vision for the future. But then, family drama crashes in like an uninvited guest, threatening to unravel everything. These stories aren't just about conflicts over keys, dresses, dogs, or rings. They're about trust, betrayal, and the messy lines we draw to protect what's ours. Let's dive into 5 gripping tales that expose the raw emotions and hidden biases driving human behavior, challenging you to question where loyalty ends and self-preservation begins. Buckle up, because these aren't your typical family squabbles. They're psychological battlegrounds. First, picture a 27-year-old man who's worked hard to own his home. He's been dating Ashton, 26, for 2 years, and they live together in his house. Ashton's finishing her master's degree, so he covers all housing expenses, mortgage, utilities, the works, while she contributes to groceries and chores. It's a deal they've both agreed on, a partnership built on trust and open communication. But then, Ashton's sister, Anna, 28, enters the scene like a wrecking ball. Anna's life is chaos. 2 kids, 2 failed marriages, and a string of bad boyfriends. She's burned bridges with her family, and last year, she dated a man who disliked kids, ignoring everyone's warnings. Now, she's broken up with him, has no job, no money, and nowhere to go. Ashton begs her boyfriend to let Anna and her kids stay in their home. He refuses, calling Anna a leech and insisting he doesn't want kids disrupting his work-from-home life. He's done helping her after years of rides and babysitting. Ashton pushes back, claiming it's her house too, but he shuts her down. Pay the mortgage, then you get a say. Things escalate when he discovers Anna entering his home with a key Ashton secretly made for her. Furious, he changes the locks and restricts Ashton's access, sparking a heated debate. Is he protecting his boundaries, or is he controlling? The emotional stakes are high. Trust is shattered, and the power dynamic in their relationship is laid bare. This isn't just about a key. It's about who holds the reins in a partnership. Cognitive bias alert. We often side with the homeowner because property ownership feels like ultimate authority, but what if Ashton's loyalty to her sister is just as valid? The controversy. Should you ever have to choose between your partner and your family? Now, shift gears to a wedding disaster that's equal parts dramatic and heartbreaking. A 31-year-old woman, the maid of honor for her best friend Katie's wedding, pours her heart into planning the perfect day. Katie, a flamboyant personality, chooses a 2-in-1 gown, a grand ball gown for the ceremony that transforms into a sleek mermaid dress for the reception. She plans a theatrical reveal. During the reception, her maid of honor will accidentally spill wine on her skirt, creating a commotion. Katie will pretend to be furious, then dramatically shed the stained skirt to unveil the mermaid gown. It's risky, but it's so Katie. The maid of honor hesitates, but agrees, caught up in her friend's vision. The moment arrives, and she spills the wine. Chaos ensues as planned, but Katie milks the act too long. By the time she removes the skirt, the wine has seeped through, staining the inner dress. The reveal flops, guests laugh, and Katie's humiliated. She blames her maid of honor, demanding an apology weeks later. The maid of honor refuses, arguing it was Katie's idea. The emotional core here is betrayal. Katie feels her dream day was ruined, while her friend feels scapegoated for following orders. This taps into the fundamental attribution error. We blame others for outcomes while excusing our own role. The provocative twist. What if Katie's need for drama doomed her own wedding? Should you ever risk your friendship for someone else's spotlight moment? Next, consider a family vacation home turned battleground. A mother of three shares a vacation house with her husband's family, including his sister, a 25-year-old dog mom with two dogs and a fiancé. When the sister adopts a third dog, the mother snaps. She doesn't hate dogs, but she's frustrated that another pet will disrupt her family's vacations. The vacation home is co-owned by her husband, his parents, and his sister, but she feels her sister-in-law's decision disregards her family's comfort. She complains to her husband, who escalates it to his parents. They scold the sister, sparking a family feud. The sister calls, sobbing, vowing never to return to the vacation home, and accusing the mother of overstepping. The mother feels guilty but justified. This story hinges on in-group bias. The mother prioritizes her family's needs, assuming they trump her sister-in-law's. The emotional tension is palpable. A shared space becomes a symbol of entitlement and exclusion. The controversial hook: is it fair to demand someone limit their pets when you've brought 3 kids into the same space? What if the real issue isn't dogs, but unspoken resentment over shared ownership? Then there's a 22-year-old college student caught in a toxic cycle with his mother. His parents split 4 years ago, and his mother's abusive behavior drove away her friends, sisters, and daughter. He's the only one left, visiting weekends to help with groceries and chores despite a grueling schedule of classes and a part-time job. His mother demands his presence, claiming he owes her even when he's exhausted. One Friday, after a brutal week, she calls him for an emergency. He drives to her house, only to learn she needs milk, bread, and cigarettes, hardly urgent. Fed up, he leaves without helping, ignoring her calls. Relatives brand him heartless, but he's at his breaking point. This story screams emotional blackmail. His mother manipulates his guilt to control him. The sunk cost fallacy keeps him tethered. He's invested so much in her that walking away feels impossible. The gut punch question: when does duty to family become self-destruction? Should you ever cut off a parent, even if they're toxic? Finally, a 23-year-old woman faces a moral dilemma over a valuable ring. Her mother promised her a stunning sapphire and diamond ring when she graduated high school. She's cherished it since childhood, and now, insured for over $20,000. She wears it only for special occasions. Her mother, unaware of its value, said it held no sentimental meaning after her divorce. But after a falling out and her mother's remarriage to a wealthy man, she demands the ring back, tipped off by a nosy cousin who saw the insurance papers. She calls her daughter a thief, but the daughter refuses to return the gift. This story taps into reciprocity bias. The mother expects the ring back because she gave it, ignoring the emotional bond her daughter formed. The emotional stakes are betrayal and greed, with a side of family mistrust. The provocative angle: is a gift ever truly yours, or can the giver reclaim it when its value skyrockets? What if the mother's demand stems from envy rather than need? These stories aren't just conflicts. They're mirrors reflecting our deepest fears and desires. They challenge us to confront uncomfortable truths. Trust can crumble in an instant. Loyalty is a double-edged sword, and boundaries are both our shield and our cage. The psychological tactics at play, manipulation, guilt, and power struggles, hook us because they're universal. We've all felt the sting of betrayal or the weight of obligation. The controversial edge lies in questioning sacred cows, family loyalty, partnership equality, and the sanctity of gifts. These tales dare you to pick a side, knowing there's no clean answer. Let's zoom in on the first story for a moment. Imagine the man's shock when he sees Anna on his Ring camera, key in hand, crossing a line he thought was sacred. His home, his sanctuary, feels violated. Ashton's secret key isn't just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of eroded trust. He's not just fighting for his space. He's fighting for control over his life. But Ashton's plea for her sister tugs at our empathy. Anna's kids are innocent, caught in their mother's chaos. Should he bend for their sake, or stand firm to protect his peace? This dilemma mirrors countless relationships where one partner's family becomes a wedge. Data backs this up. A 2019 study in Journal of Marriage and Family found that conflicts over in-laws are a top predictor of relationship strain. The man's decision to change the locks feels extreme, but it's rooted in a primal need for security. Yet, by restricting Ashton's access, he risks alienating her, potentially ending their relationship. The lesson? Boundaries are essential, but they can cut both ways. The wedding story, meanwhile, is a masterclass in miscommunication and misplaced blame. Katie's vision for a dramatic reveal is pure theater, but it's also a gamble. The maid of honor's hesitation shows her awareness of the risk, yet her loyalty to Katie overrides her instincts. When the plan fails, Katie's anger feels like a betrayal of that loyalty. Behavioral psychology explains this. The self-serving bias lets Katie blame her friend to protect her ego, ignoring her own role in the fiasco. The maid of honor's attempt to lighten the mood in her speech backfires, highlighting another bias. We overestimate how much others share our perspective. This story resonates because we've all been burned by a friend's unrealistic expectations. The controversial twist, Katie's refusal to own her mistake, challenges the myth that brides are untouchable on their wedding day. The vacation home dispute is a powder keg of entitlement and family dynamics. The mother's frustration is relatable. Who wants their vacation disrupted by 3 dogs? But her sister-in-law's tears reveal a deeper wound, being judged for her life choices. The vacation home, co-owned by the family, becomes a metaphor for shared dreams and clashing priorities. A 2021 survey by Family Relations found that shared property often sparks family conflict when expectations aren't aligned. The mother's decision to escalate the issue through her in-laws backfired, alienating her sister-in-law and fracturing the family. The provocative question, why are her kids acceptable but the dogs aren't, exposes a double standard that makes us squirm. The college student's story is a gut-wrenching portrait of filial duty gone awry. His mother's emergency ploy is textbook manipulation, exploiting his guilt to keep him tethered. Psychologists call this enmeshment, where boundaries between parent and child blur, trapping the child in a cycle of obligation. His decision to drive away is a small act of rebellion. But the backlash from relatives shows how families enforce toxic norms. The halo effect makes his mother's role as parent seem sacred, blinding others to her abuse. This story hits hard because it forces us to question whether blood ties justify suffering. The hook. What if walking away is the only way to save yourself? The ring dispute is a classic tale of greed and broken promises. The daughter's attachment to the ring isn't just about its value. It's a symbol of her mother's love, now tainted by betrayal. Her mother's demand, fueled by newfound knowledge of the ring's worth, reeks of opportunism. The endowment effect explains why the daughter clings to the ring. We value what we own more than what we don't. The cousin's snooping adds a layer of mistrust, reminding us that family can be as treacherous as strangers. The controversial angle, is a gift conditional, challenges our assumptions about generosity and entitlement. These stories grip us because they expose the fault lines in our relationships. They leverage loss aversion. We fear losing trust, love, or control more than we crave gain. They also tap into social proof. The relatives' judgments in each story pressure the protagonist to conform, even when it's toxic. By breaking rules, like questioning family loyalty or gift-giving norms, these tales spark curiosity and debate. They're not just stories. They're warnings about the cost of unchecked emotions and unclear boundaries. So what's the takeaway? Relationships are a tightrope walk between self and others. Set boundaries, but know they can wound. Trust your instincts, but question your biases. And when family drama knocks, decide what you're willing to sacrifice, because you can't save everyone without losing something of yourself. These stories don't just entertain. They challenge you to rethink where you draw the line.